Coaches, wouldn't you love an AI assistant that can help you summarize and answer questions on your meeting transcripts, YouTube videos, ebooks, blogs, articles? There's a tool called NotebookLM created by Google that does just that. My name is Johan Steeg and I help coaches use AI effectively and mindfully for both their professional and business lives. And in this video, I will share with you 7 ways on how to use NotebookLM effectively. So we can find NotebookLM by going to notebooklm.google. And then when you go to the page, you immediately see the option to try it. So we click on Try NotebookLM. And now you're welcomed by NotebookLM, and you see here the benefits of Notebook, like you can upload your documents, so you can ask questions, and you can convert complex material into easy to understand formats. But you will see how this all works. So now we click on Create. And here you can upload sources, and anything you upload is called a source. And you're allowed to upload a total of 50 sources. And these sources can be PDF files, text files, audio files. You can upload documents from Google, Google Docs. You can also add links of your website, for example, or a link of a YouTube video. So you don't need to get the transcript of a video and then upload it here. No, you can just add a link of a YouTube video and then you can ask questions about it immediately. And you can also paste text as well. So for our first use case, we're going to add a YouTube video as a source. So we do that by clicking on YouTube. Then we paste the YouTube link. And this is a video of the dating coach Matthew Hussey who talks about dating. And as you can read here in the notes, only public YouTube videos are supported, and recently uploaded videos may not be available to import. This video is around 8 months old, so this should work. So I click on Insert. And yes, as you see, the notebook guide opened automatically, and it created an automatic summary based on the video. It came with suggested questions that we can ask, and it also gives some inspiration in terms of what you can create based on the content of the video. If you don't see the notebook guide, then you have to simply click on Notebook Guide to make it appear. And there's also an audio overview, but more about this later. If it does not work, if you see an error message, again, it's probably because the video is pretty recent, but then what you can do is you can go to a different website like youtubetranscript.com, and then you paste the URL here, and then you can copy the transcript from here. And then when you have copied the transcript, you simply go to copied text when you want to upload it as a source. So you click on copy text, and then here you can paste the entire transcript. But it worked, so let's try the study guide. Let's say I need to memorize the text, the content, because I have to do a test. They're going to test me and check if I have sufficient knowledge on this topic. So in order to remember, I can use a study guide. So let's see what kind of study guide NotebookLM will create. So I click on Study Guide. Shouldn't take too long. And yeah, a new window opens. As you can read here, Navigating Dating Anxiety, a study guide. You see here, there's a quiz. And then here are the answers to the questions of the quiz. And then when we scroll, we see example essay questions that they might ask you if you're going to do an actual test. And you see a glossary of key terms. So let's now try something else. Let's create an FAQ. So we go back to the notebook guide and we click on FAQ. And now a new window, should appear. Dating anxiety FAQ. So the first FAQ, where does dating anxiety come from? Why does anxiety feel so overwhelming in dating situations? So this is a different version of a summary that you saw when the notebook guide appeared, but then in the format of an FAQ. What's fantastic about NotebookLM is that we can ask our own questions. So let's say I'm a relationship coach and I want to gain some insights that we can get from this video. So let's ask the following question. Give 7 tips on how women over 40 can improve their dating skills. And as you can see here, there are 7 tips on how women over 40 can improve their dating skills, like recognize that anxiety about dating comes from past experiences, acknowledge and separate from your anxious feelings, etc. But aside from gaining insights or to gain inspiration for the purpose of creating content for our own business or for our marketing, we can ask questions about our own videos. So let's say this is my video, then I might want to ask how this video can be improved. So I can ask, how can this video be improved? What is missing? Or to be more precise, how can the content of this video be improved? What is missing? And by the way, this icon means you can copy the text. So here, content improvements and missing elements in a dating anxiety video. While the video offers valuable insights into understanding and managing dating anxiety, there are areas where the content could be improved and elements that could be added to enhance its impact, like specificity to the target audience, or practical dating strategies, or addressing age-related concerns. For example, here, the video doesn't directly tackle concerns specific to dating over 40. So you can come up with ideas on how to improve your own content. Or if you want to talk about a topic that's very similar to a topic discussed in another video, then you can basically gain inspiration by using elements of that content, but then improve upon that content. So let's say I'm a relationship coach and I want to make a similar video, then I can use NotebookLM to tell me how can I improve this already great video for my own business, basically, for my own content purposes. Lastly, what we can do, aside from asking questions about the actual content, and aside from asking questions on how to improve our own content or someone else's content for the sake of creating our own content, we can also ask NotebookLM to convert the actual content into an email or into an ad or into a social media post. So let's say we want to convert the content into a blog. And here you go. Dating after 40, a guide to overcoming anxiety and finding love. Dating can be a nerve-wracking experience at any age, but for women over 40, it can bring a unique set of challenges. So it actually focuses on women over 40 because that was my initial question. You can also say, make the focus of the blog on men in their 20s. It's important to double check the results because in the last few examples, including this one, you can see that the blog refers to the sources, like here. The sources emphasize that anxiety often disguises, etc., etc. If you would post this as a blog, we would not want to have any references to the sources. So, or we modify the blog ourselves, or we ask NotebookLM to exclude the fact that the content comes from a source in Notebook or that the content comes from a YouTube video. Like here in this sentence, this blog post drawing insights from Matthew Hussey and Audrey's conversation on dating anxiety. If the focus of the blog should be the content itself and not where it comes from, then we should ask NotebookLM to exclude the fact that the content comes from a podcast, for example. So you want to double check that these references are not being made in the content created by NotebookLM. So for our next use case, we're going to upload an ebook, but we're going to create an entirely new notebook. So I click here on NotebookLM. So instead of clicking on this plus icon to add a source, we're going to start from scratch. So I click on NotebookLM, the logo, and now I'm going to click on Create New. So we're going to create a new notebook. And now as a source, I'm going to upload my ebook that I wrote, which is called Empowering Coaches with AI. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then definitely check out the link below this video. Here it is. And now I'm selecting the file. It will take a while. It is 50 pages long. Yeah, here it is. So again, you see the notebook guide appears immediately. You have a summary, you have a few suggested questions, and again, you have some quick links that will help you to convert the content into a different format. When you upload an ebook, you can ask specific relevant questions to your situation. So let's say you don't want to read the entire ebook, but you're interested in a particular topic, then you can ask about that topic. So this ebook that I've uploaded is all about helping coaches understanding AI. So what I can do is I can ask, give me a summary of the history of AI. And here you find a summary of the history of AI. So there's a lot more information, of course, in the ebook, but it is very easy to ask NotebookLM to simply summarize a particular part. So let's say, give me all the relevant details that I need to implement AI in my coaching business. When you make a mistake, a spelling mistake, then it is not that much of a problem. Oftentimes, the language model will understand what you're talking about. And now a summary appeared of how to implement AI in your coaching business. So it has condensed 50 pages into information that can fit 2 pages. So that's a way to save a lot of time if you're not interested or you don't have the time to read an entire ebook. So of course, you can add all sorts of ebooks of your competitors, of influencers, and then you can ask specific questions about a topic, about that ebook. Another question you can ask is, give me 10 email ideas that I can send to my subscribers that are into mindfulness. Here are 10 email ideas for your mindfulness subscribers, which you might find very helpful if you are a mindfulness coach. For example, here, one idea is share a guided meditation, mindful moment of the week, mindfulness challenge, client success story featuring AI. This might not be the best idea. So it's not perfect, of course, but there are a few ideas that you can use if you're a mindfulness coach, for example. Of course, aside from email ideas, you can ask for blog ideas, for social media ideas, for marketing ideas, for Facebook ad ideas, ideas that you can share with your clients. But what's interesting is that in this case, the 10 email ideas, this information, this content is not in my AI ebook, but it still was able to come up with these email ideas. And again, if you want to return to Notebook Guides, then you can click here on Notebook Guide to make the Notebook Guide appear. And if you want to go back to the chat, you can just start typing a question here, or you click here on View Chat. And now for our next use case, we're going to add a link as a source. So I want to start from scratch again. So I click on NotebookLM and I click on Create New. And this time we click on Website here. And now we paste the URL of a blog about micro habits. I don't know this person, but I know this is a blog about micro habits. So I click on Insert. Shouldn't take too long. And here we have the notebook guide again. So when we add an article or a blog or a news article, then what we can ask, for example, is summarize this blog in 1 sentence. Then here, the answer is microhabits are small, manageable actions that can be easily incorporated into your daily routine to create positive and lasting changes. And then we can ask, give me 5 examples that I can implement. And of course, these examples are not necessarily for you alone. You can also share these strategies with your clients. Now for our next use case, we're going to add as a source a transcript of a conversation between a coach and a client called Jason. So I will start from scratch again. So I click on NotebookLM, click on Create New. And now I have copied the text. So this time I'm going to click on Copied Text here. And I will paste the text here. So here you find the transcript. And then I click on Insert. Again, the notebook guide appears, there's a summary. But this time, let's check one of these suggested questions. Okay, the first one is, what underlies Jason's insecurity and its impact on his relationships? Because the transcript is of a conversation about marriage problems that Jason is experiencing. The second question is, how does Jason's past affect his present behaviors and emotional state? And the third one, can small, manageable steps alleviate Jason's pervasive anxieties and distress? They're pretty good questions, so let's click the third one. So if you don't really know what to ask, then NotebookLM comes with interesting questions that you might want to ask about the source that you've added. Yeah, here we go. It seems small, manageable steps can help alleviate Jason's anxieties and distress. And then there's a lot of information. Here are some tips, a plan of action that involves several small steps. So you might want to explore these suggested questions, but of course, what we can do is when we have added as a source a transcript, then we can ask questions about the transcript. We can say, summarize the source in a few sentences. The source is a transcript of a session between a life coach and their client Jason experiencing anxiety and stress, etc., etc. Or what we can do is, instead of asking for a summary, we can ask for a few tips. So give me 5 tips that will help Jason with his marriage. And here we have 5 tips. Here are 5 tips to help Jason with his marriage based on a provided source. Acknowledge and address insecurities, practice open and honest communication, active listening and empathy. So if you're a life coach and you soon have the next session with Jason, you might want to use NotebookLM to help you remember what was discussed by asking for a summary, or you can ask NotebookLM to come up with some tips or some insights that you might have missed. Because basically, NotebookLM is a fresh set of eyes that can help you to gain some inspiration. Maybe there are some questions that you forgot to ask or that you should ask, or maybe there is some information or tips that you could have shared that you have not thought of, or there are some insights that you have overlooked, but NotebookLM was able to catch. So it is pretty refreshing to have this set of eyes that can help you remember what was discussed, that can help you to come up with new tips, and that can help you to come up maybe with a new structure for the next session with that client. Next, we're going to ask NotebookLM for some feedback about a website. So let's say I've created a website, but I want to find ways to improve it. So I'm going to create a new notebook. And this time I click on website and I paste the URL. I'll just use one of my older websites, socialmediabreakup.com. And now again, we have the notebook guide, but we're going to ask straight away, give me 5 ways to improve this website. Here we go. Here are 5 ways to improve the website based on the provided excerpts. Clearly state the target audience, provide more detailed information about the services, showcase testimonials or success stories. These are pretty good tips. So you can ask NotebookLM to provide you with some feedback on not just your website, but maybe a blog or an email or a Facebook ad, or maybe you're unsure about the text of a possible Google ad. So this is just one other example how NotebookLM can help you to improve your content. For our final use case, we're going to add the minutes of a meeting between a coach and a client. So we will create a new notebook and the text is copied. So we click on copy text and we paste the minutes here. Click on insert. And then we have the notebook guide. So what we can do here is we can ask for a summary that we then can share with the clients. So we're going to ask, create a thorough summary that includes all the steps that the client will take. And here we have the summary. So the entire text was pretty long, but now we have a concise summary that we can, well, first we double check it, and then we can share the minutes or the summary of the minutes of the meeting with the client. So we can share the minutes by clicking here on share. And then we can copy the link, and then we can send that link to the client so he or she will be able to see the minutes. Or we can add the client by adding his or her email address, which should be a Gmail address, like johansson@gmail.com. And then you can click on email address here, and then you can decide whether this person is a viewer or an editor. And you can also revoke the access. And then you click on send, and then an invitation will be sent to that email address, so your client will have access to the minutes as well. Now for our bonus use case. We go back to one of these notebooks. So let's say we go to overcoming dating anxiety. We're now going to open a notebook guide, and we're going to discuss the audio overview feature. If you're an auditory learner, you will love this feature because when you click on generate, it's going to generate a podcast where you will hear a male voice and a female voice, and they will be discussing the content from the source. And it will last around 60 minutes, but I understand that there's a cap of 30 minutes, but normally it is much shorter. But they are constantly improving this feature. So it is possible that by the time you watch this video, there are more features available. Now, when you click on generate, it's going to generate a podcast based on the content from the source. But if you click on customize, then you can give the AI hosts, the male voice and the female voice, certain instructions. For example, we can add the following instruction: focus on relationship advice and dating tips. And now we click on generate. And it says, this may take a few minutes, no need to stick around, which is true. It can take a while. It's finally done generating. So let's click play to see what it sounds like.
All right, so are you ready to dive in? Because today, we're tackling something that I think a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, yeah.
Dating anxiety.
For sure.
And
sounds pretty good. It's 12 minutes long. We can praise the model or we can critique the model. We can share the audio if we want by creating a link. We can also change the playback speed. We can download the audio and we can delete the audio. So there's a lot you can do with this audio. You can play it as a podcast when you're on the go. Again, if you're an auditory learner, then this is way better than reading. If you want to remember the content from the source, then you can listen to these podcasts and you can just keep generating new ones. And then in the instructions, you can specify what the focus should be. It doesn't always work. I've tried it a few times and sometimes they kind of ignore the instructions, but I know that with time, it will improve. So it's just a matter of testing and see what works, what doesn't work. It's a good idea to hover with the mouse over the eye for information, to read more about this feature. For example, here it says audio overviews are only in English at this moment. It can take several minutes to generate an audio overview. So it's a good idea to check this on a regular basis. But it has to be said that it is very interesting to listen to these audios and hear a male voice and female voice discussing your content. And not just because it's just another way of learning about your content, whether that's through a summary or FAQ or study guide that they might be discussing, but also these voices, these characters will include their own questions, their own curiosities, their own perspectives, their own opinions, their own angles. And many of these you might not have even thought of before. So that means by listening to these audios, you might find new ways to tackle certain problems or to come up with interesting new solutions. So that's why you really want to give this feature a try. Lastly, what I suggest when you use NotebookLM is to enable dark mode. So you do that by clicking here on settings. And then when you are in light mode, you should see here switch to dark mode. You can also switch to auto mode, but I would suggest to switch to dark mode so it will be permanently dark. So I showed you a few ways on how to use NotebookLM for your business, and as you can probably imagine, you can get very creative. Or what about your personal life? You can upload appliance manuals or board game instructions and ask NotebookLM questions about that information. If you have any other way that you use NotebookLM, then definitely let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I see you next time.